What's going on, everyone? If you're watching this, I'm likely in Japan right now, so go ahead and just hit that subscribe button for me. Thank you. But in today's video, we're going to go ahead and talk about Portgas D's post structure deck. So this is structure deck 15. I believe it goes 15 to 19. There's a whole suite of 6 structure decks that are released that boost old leaders, whereas the red card was, of course, Whitebeard, not Ace, but one of the cards is added in, and I think it does add a lot of power to the deck and kind of brings back my favorite deck of all time. For those who are unfamiliar, Portgas D Ace leader is when this leader attacks or is being attacked, you may trash any number of event or stage cards from your hand. For each card you trash, this leader gains plus 1000 power during this battle. One key thing is this happens before the counter step when you're attacking, so you discard these and then they of course counter, and then on top of that, when being attacked, you discard the events first and then your counter events. So it's very important just because you don't want to be sharked. But yes, in this video, we're going to talk about my deck choices. We'll talk about the cards that I believe are flex, and then also potential candidates for the deck in terms of your toolbox and my take on those as well. So first up, we have Otama. Otama, of course, is forever a red staple. It's just such a nice effect when you play her out and you go minus 2000. Great for clearing, but also plays well with our destruction effects, which we'll talk about a bit more. But yeah, allows you to clear bodies a bit easier and puts them in that sweet spot of your effects, especially because Ace has the event Flame Emperor, which is still, in my opinion, one of the greatest events ever printed. It just gives you so much versatility. Next up, we're playing Ninebeard. I opted to play Ninebeard because it's still really good. This card is essentially saying every single attack you get a free 2k, and he clears chump blockers like Rebecca and things like that, and enables you to clear those bodies. Plus, in a world where Zuro is a thing, I think that this card really helps. You know, you become a 7k leader. It's very expensive for Zuro to swing on you, and then also he can free pop and remove board and help you regain the advantage. So I'm a big fan of this card. Now, this build is very initial. It's hard to test OP08.5 since any of the other decks like Dofi aren't out yet, and I think that does shape the meta a little bit differently. I think, you know, Lucci starts playing Sheep Soap, things like that. But I think Thatch, this is definitely a flex card, but it is very nice because a lot of it is very even curve or odd curve oriented, so it is nice to have a even curve for if you get to go second. But this deck, of course, being able to go first in a world where people want to go second is really good. But then, of course, you do want to, of course, take that second away and be able to play some value. So I think Thatch really fits that bill. Really good for yellow as well. Helps you match and go ban for ban with Calgara with him in the meta. So little things like that. And then you followed us up with an ace and whiteboard. Easy. Jozu's a 2k. There is a new 2k. I'm still opting to play Jozu. Jozu still, I feel, just comes up just a little bit more, and it's just a little bit better. The new event, the new 2k could possibly replace Otama. We'll talk about that, but I don't think you should. It just gives you one more searcher, but we weren't whiffing anyways. Our whole deck is Whitebeard Pirates. If we whiff, we are probably losing anyways. But yeah, so we're going with Jozu. The rush does come up. Now, of course, the best card in the deck, this card's also just really good against Dofi. You smack one of these, lets you clean his board. These with Izo, they do have more 6k bodies now, such as of course, the vanilla 4/6, and then you also have the Weevil. And so those ones can't be swung on with these, but when you're swinging on bodies with Izo's 5k bodies after dropping an ace, it feels so good. And then it's like, well, do I give a 1k for this body when I'm just going to go 5 at it with my leader? It's like, maybe, but yeah, it gets you cards, especially if you have multiples of these. Just the MVP. And then we've got Makino. Makino, of course, goes hand in hand with Izo. It gives us 12 2Ks, so really lets us put on some pressure. Putting these down and then buffing Ezo is really great in my opinion. I do believe that you could consider this flex. You could possibly play cards like Bad Manners Kick Course, or if you really wanted, if you up this, because I do like 12 2Ks is the best part of red, is the 2Ks. Big fan of them. But you can go like play the other 2K from the deck, or add these in, play Mask Deuces. But if you're playing Mask Deuce, I think it just makes the argument to play Machino that much more, because you play these down, you get to apply a lot of pressure, and then they like have to either answer these with a card, or they have to swing into them, or get super pressured. Then we have Marco Blocker. I'm playing 4. Of course, blue does bottom deck him, which is slightly annoying, and Dofi becomes the best deck in the format, but I still think he is deserving of this slot. Great for yellow. I know Pudding's back. I still think the win con for yellow is you just, specifically like Big Moms, you just play 2 of these, and then you just win. You just go straight. You rush to 0, play 2 of these, and you're just like, block. You got all your value, and you just live off of these, giving up 1 card on those 12K swings. That's my thoughts. Maybe it's changed. I do need to get in some more Pudding reps, but we will, of course, update this as we go. You know I'm committed to 8.5 ace format, so I'll be here. We'll be going as we go, and then, of course, there'll be plenty of gameplay and things like that. But then, yeah, Ezo needs no introduction. The searcher of the deck, and really just brings everything together. Marco, I'm only playing 3 Marco. I think there's the argument to play 4. It does. We do want those sticky bodies. We get a new one. You know, even if Lucci pops it, you just give him an event, and then it's like 6K leader. This one, you know, we win by swarming the board, and just, you can play control, or you can just go all in aggro and just go face. But yeah, I think that, and the fact that it can remove Zoro bodies, and you can remove what's her name? Rebecca. No, Shanks. I still feel like as long as Mori is a card, we have to play this. Mostly because as long as Moria is established, if they follow it up with another Moria, we're just in such a poor position. And they're in such a strong, aggressive position. My downfall is, of course, you don't get to do a lot with him. But I do think it matters. And I think it's also really good for Enel or like yellow, because you get to clear one of those big bodies. And it gives you a giant swinger as well. So if you go 9, then you go 10 and like clear something. Like you go 9, you play your Newgate, you go 7. They play their guy, pop your guy, don't swing on lead. Then you play Shanks, pop theirs. Their Gecko, you could be in a decent-ish spot. I think there's an argument to play 4. I just went ahead and cut it. Like, again, I like to do a little bit of flex all around. So, and then, now the new card, the card that really changes a lot of things, is this right here. So it's from ST15, Portgas D ace. If your leader has Whitebeard Pirates included in its type, this card gains rush. So he's a 5/6 rusher with counter. So 5-drop Luffy, never heard of him. Is there an opportunity to play it? Maybe. I think it's at like a 1 of, but we already have such a strong 5 curve with him and Marco, and then 6 also adding in Thatch. But the great thing is, once per turn, this character would be removed from play by one of your opponent's card effects. Instead, you may give this character minus 2,000 power for the turn. So you play this, they cannot remove it. They have to double remove it, or he sticks. Now, and even when he's turned sideways, if they remove it, you can minus it, and then they can swing on him, but it costs them resources and an effect. Also, Red Rock trigger, nope. Think again. So it's just very, very good, because he's a sticky body. And so now we have Marco. We have Ace, who just cannot be removed. Marco and Marco can be bottom decked, but Ace cannot. So we get a little bit more sticky body that has rush. And we can just really apply that pressure going 5/6, 7/7, go 9, go 10. And hopefully it all falls together. Now, I am playing 3 Radical Beam. I think there's the argument to play 4 again. I kind of just flexed it out, Thatch is definitely flex. These are just such a great card. You play them, you go 9. It gives you so much value. And they're still some of the best counter cards in the game, in my opinion, until we get that new one for the Luffy. But yeah, we've got Seaquake. I think I'm pretty torn on this. It does, of course, answer Rebecca, which is big for 1. And it does answer Zero Bodies. And you can do minus to answer something. And it's got a trigger that can save you. So I don't hate it. I think it's not as good as it used to be. When people played 5 costs, it was kind of really good. Still might be decent. But yeah, 2 of these, I think you could play 1 if you wanted. Now, this hurts me. I think you could play 3 Flame Emperor, especially if you predict like a lot of yellow, just because of 7 Mom, or even Calgara. But even then, it only hits an 8K, and there's a lot of decks play top end, so there's a lot of cards that fall out. But you do get like that explosive life, which is like, oh, you hit it, trigger KO, which is really good. And the best part of red, it's like boom, wow. It's just like a finger pistol, but finger pistol is almost kind of better. But we do get that little bonus here, and that can mean a lot. So I could see you playing 3. And we have 1 Bad Manners Kid Course. Truthfully, I don't even think we need this in the deck. I just kind of wanted it. This is another event for Marco. But I think this is absolutely flex. You play 3 Flame Emperor, what have you. And then we have Gum Gum Jet Pistol. This card, of course, KO's a 6K. You can use the main effect. You can use the Grid of Sabo. You can use the Grid of Blockers. Anything that might be a threat to you, and just relieve some pressure. And you can hit it off of life, which is always nice. And possibly KO a blocker that's stopping you from going for game. Also can answer Borsalino when it's hit out of life. All those little nuances. But yeah, so this is the deck. Let's go ahead. Real quick, let me know in the comments if you're going to play Ace once these decks come out. But let's go ahead and take a look at the other cards I believe are playable. So first up, I think Masked Deuce with that new Ace card. I think this card is a lot better. You used to try to play this and just hope to gosh you saw 7 Ace off of him. And he was kind of like just trying to play more 7 Ace. But I think this card is just really was lackluster. But now with the new Ace, you have 8 Ace targets, and then any events you play, which gives him a lot more of a spectrum of cards to get. So I think he has the opportunity to be played. Rayleigh Silvers, I think it is the best red card. I think this card absolutely deserves a spot. You could cut Thatch and just play this and strengthen the 8 curve instead. He is just like Ace, but arguably better, because you get to choose 2 of your opponent's characters and then -1/3, -1/2, but it lasts until the end of their turn, and you also get to remove a body. So he's essentially giving you that Ace with a swing by removing a 6K, and then you can minus something by 2, so they have to Dawn, commit to swing up. I think if there's any card that's not in the deck right now, I just have to figure out what card doesn't work. But first thought is Thatch, and you can replace him with Rayleigh. Atmos, this card is a 1K. This doesn't do very much for you because your leader is not Newgate. But it is mentioned here because it's one of the new cards from the structure deck. Now we have this Newgate, who on play give your leader or characters up to 1 rested Dawn, and then you can make him dance by resting him sideways to KO at 5,000 power or less. Once you have this established, if you drop like Portgas D Ace afterwards, you can really remove a big body while also clearing, so you can clear a big body, little body. So I think that this is noteworthy. If this card had counter, I'd probably absolutely play it, but it does not. So I've opted not to, but I do think there is the argument to play this. Now here is King Dew. This card is a new card. He's got a blocker, and then if your opponent KOs it, you gain 2,000 power for the turn. So your opponent can't KO this while going for game, or you either have to have like no cards in their hand, because you will become a 7K leader, and it's a lot harder to swing on. So this card's really cool because it's pretty much like, oh, you can't attack the leader if you want to remove me. I think that's a very interesting thing. I think that, if you wanted to play this, like he replaces Fosa, if you wanted to go like that type deal, but I still Didn't love it. He's not like actually sticky, so went ahead. I don't think we should play him. And then Thatch, this is the dude 2K that I had mentioned. If your leader has the Whitebeard Pirates type, give one of your opponent's characters minus 2,000, and then put the top card of your life into your hand. So if you're getting starved, you can use this to get resources, and it gives you an Otama effect. You can also play it if you have no life. So there's those arguments. I didn't think it was worth it, so I didn't include them. And then, of course, Fire Fist, Ace's signature move. I don't think it's worth the spot. Maybe it is if Doflamingo's a thing, because then you just use this to clear Dofi bodies with a Otama, but it costs you 3 cards. You have to give up this, an event, and a card to minus. Or you have to play Ace. But either way, it's a 3-card combo, and it's very expensive in my opinion. And yeah, that is the list. These are the options listed here. As always, if you enjoyed the content, if you could do me a favor, hit the subscribe button. It helps me out a ton. And let me know what content you'd like to see for the future.